Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. Are you ready for some action? Then let's dive straight into it. Listen to this story about the last giant of Gromfell. In the ancient kingdom of Gromfell, nestled between jagged mountains and dark forests, there was a legend of a giant so powerful that even the bravest knights trembled at his name. His name was Grumdar, the last of the mountain giants. He was a towering figure with skin like granite and eyes that glowed faintly like the embers of a dying fire. For centuries, the people of Gromfell spoke of his wrath and the devastation he could bring, yet few had ever seen him and lived to tell the tale. Long ago, the giants ruled the land, but after a great war between the giants and men, most were either slain or driven into exile. Grumdar was different. He was not interested in wars or battles but sought solitude in the mountains, living a quiet life far from the affairs of men. Yet his peace would not last forever. In Gromfell's capital, King Haldric ruled with a mix of wisdom and fear. His kingdom was prosperous, but rumors of a rising evil in the north reached his ears. A dark sorcerer named Malgrin, who sought to conquer the land with his army of twisted creatures. Malgrin's forces grew stronger with each passing day, and King Haldric knew he would need more than just his army to stop the sorcerer. There was an old prophecy that spoke of a great giant whose strength could tip the balance of power, either saving the kingdom or dooming it. Desperate, Haldric sent his most trusted knight, Sir Cedric, on a mission to find Grumdar and convince him to aid the kingdom in its time of need. Sir Cedric was a noble knight, known for his bravery and skill in combat, but the idea of facing a giant terrified even him. Armed with his enchanted sword, Ironfang, and a map given to him by the king's most trusted advisor, Cedric set out on a perilous journey toward the Frostpeak Mountains, where it was said Grumdar resided. Days passed as Cedric traversed the dangerous wilderness, through dark forests filled with wolves, across rushing rivers, and over treacherous cliffs. Along the way, he encountered strange sights. Ruined villages abandoned in haste, whispers of dark magic in the air, and creatures unlike any he had seen before. At last, he reached the Cavern of Echoes, where the giant was said to dwell. The entrance was vast and carved into the mountain like a scar, with ancient runes lining the walls. Inside, the ground trembled slightly with every step Cedric took, and a low, rumbling sound echoed through the cavern. In the heart of the cavern, Cedric finally saw him, Grumdar, seated upon a throne of stone. The giant was even larger than the stories had told, his massive form shrouded in shadows, his eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Grumdar's voice was like the rumble of a distant storm as he spoke. "Who dares enter my domain?" Cedric, though nervous, stepped forward. "I am Sir Cedric, Knight of Gromfell, sent by King Haldric to seek your aid. The kingdom is in grave danger, and only your strength can turn the tide against the darkness rising in the north." Grumdar's eyes narrowed. "The affairs of men are no longer my concern. The last time I stood with men, they betrayed my kind. Why should I fight for them now?" Cedric, realizing the weight of the giant's words, lowered his sword and spoke with sincerity. "The world has changed since the days of the great wars. I cannot change the past, but I know that without your help, our people will fall. This sorcerer, Malgrin, seeks to claim the land for himself, and once he has conquered Gromfell, he will turn his gaze upon the mountains. There will be no place left for giants or men." Grumdar stood, his towering form casting a shadow over Cedric. "If I join this fight, there is no turning back. My wrath will be as great as the storm, but I will not be bound to the will of your king. I fight for myself, not for Gromfell." Cedric nodded, understanding the giant's terms. Together they prepared to journey back to the kingdom, but little did they know, Malgrin had already set his plans in motion. By the time Cedric and Grumdar arrived at the capital, Malgrin's army was on the march. The sky was dark with unnatural clouds, and the ground trembled with the footsteps of twisted creatures, ogres, trolls, and beasts of shadow that Malgrin had summoned from the depths of the earth. King Haldric's army stood ready at the gates, but the sight of Grumdar gave them both fear and hope. The giant, with his massive stone club in hand, towered over even the tallest of men. He let out a roar that echoed across the battlefield, challenging Malgrin's forces. The battle began. Grumdar charged into the fray with unstoppable force, smashing through Malgrin's creatures with ease. His club sent trolls flying through the air, and with every step, the ground shook as though the mountains themselves were moving. The soldiers of Gromfell, inspired by the giant's fury, fought with renewed vigor. Malgrin watched from atop a black tower, his eyes glowing with dark magic. He saw the destruction Grumdar was causing and knew that the giant was the key to winning or losing this battle. With a wave of his hand, he summoned a dark storm of lightning and shadow, directing it toward Grumdar. The giant, though powerful, was not immune to magic. Bolts of dark energy struck him, and he staggered back, roaring in pain. Malgrin's forces pressed their attack, and for a moment it seemed as though Grumdar might fall. Seeing the giant in danger, Sir Cedric knew he had to act. He fought his way through the battlefield, cutting down enemies with Iron Fang until he reached the base of Malgrin's tower. Climbing the dark spire, he faced the sorcerer in a duel of magic and steel. Malgrin sneered at the knight. "You think you can defeat me? I command the very forces of darkness." But Cedric had a plan. Using a shard of enchanted crystal given to him by King Haldric's advisor, he deflected Malgrin's magic, sending it back toward the sorcerer. The tower shook with the force of the spell, and Malgrin, caught off guard, was thrown from his perch and into the chaos below. With Malgrin's magic broken, the storm dissipated, and Grumdar, now free of the sorcerer's attacks, rose to his feet. Letting out a thunderous roar, he crushed the remaining forces with a final, earth-shaking blow. The battle was won, and Gromfell was saved. Grumdar, though wounded, stood victorious among the ruins of the battlefield. King Haldric offered him a place of honor in the kingdom, but the giant declined. "I belong to the mountains," Grumdar said. "But know this, I will watch over Gromfell from afar. Should the darkness rise again, you may call upon me." With that, Grumdar returned to the Frostpeak Mountains, where he could live in peace once more, his legend forever etched into the history of the kingdom. Sir Cedric, hailed as a hero, returned to the capital, knowing that without the giant's help, Gromfell would have been lost. And so, the legend of Grumdar, the last giant of Gromfell, lived on. A story of courage, redemption, and the unexpected bond between a man and a giant who fought together to save a kingdom. If you find this story interesting, please like, share, and subscribe so as to motivate me to make more interesting stories.